I'm Cameron Stover from huntinggeardeals.com today to talk about 4 deer hunting strategies that you should master this season. So, when the conditions are ideal, there's no better time to be in the woods than an early November morning during the whitetail rut. As you watch the sun rise and the crunch of leaves come your way, man, it's what we live for as hunters, right? The expectation of your target buck heading your direction. But what do you do when those trail camera photos don't reveal the bucks that you're looking for? Well, here are a few methods outside of the box to help you find success this season. First up, if it's a really abnormally windy day, try the ground and pound approach. The reason being is when the wind is elevated, so are the noise levels, and the wind takes multiple senses away from the whitetail deer that they utilize to protect themselves from predators, such as coyotes and even humans. So, when the high wind days, don't be afraid to get out and explore. Look for bedding areas where deer are going to be trying to get out of the wind. Maybe it's a low spot in an open farmland where deer can kind of hide down in a depression. In mountainous terrain, maybe it's on the backside of wherever the wind is coming from, or a large down tree, or even a rock formation. Any of these areas are ideal bedding spots for big bucks. Now, in order to find those, you can't walk through the woods all willy-nilly. You're going to have to be cautious. So using the still hunting approach will allow you to get close enough for a shot, and it's even possible with a bow. Now, preferably if you live in an area during gun season, this would be the ideal time to do it. Keep your eyes peeled on the horizon, but also don't overlook the deer. One of the worst mistakes I made in the whitetail woods was when I had a chance to shoot this extremely wide buck. And the problem was I was on my feet, he was in range, but I expected him to be at as far as my eyes could see instead of 25 yards away. And I overlooked him and he was standing broadside. So don't just focus on the horizon, look up close. The second method, and probably the most aggressive approach, and you've heard of it before, is the bump and dump hunt. So when you're out walking around on these windy days or other conditions, maybe you're doing some scouting and you bump a deer out of that bed, go ahead and hang your stand or your saddle and get in a tree. Sometimes, not all the times, that deer will come back to those areas because he felt safe. If he escaped danger quickly and easily without any issue, he's going to come back eventually. Could be today, could be tomorrow, might not be until next week. But this bump and dump method has proven great results through the years for some hardcore hunters that aren't afraid to push the envelope. So the bump and dump hunt is something you should implement when you bump a deer out of his bed. Number 3, sometimes you should just stop hunting and spend the day scouting. We all get into the lull of sitting in the stand in our favorite spot because we've got trail camera photos and history with an area that says this is where we're supposed to be. But not every season is the same. So don't be afraid to give up a midday. So don't be afraid to give up a little bit of time and spend time scouting. This is really easy for me to do on a public land hunting adventure when I'm going out of state because I need to know where those deer are when I get there. What I find myself kind of in the rut of doing is not chasing the freshest sign and scouting during season in areas that I'm more familiar with. For instance, my property that I have, I know that if I get back in this low gap in the backfield, I'm going to see some deer. However, I've been setting up in this spot for multiple years, and I've always missed opportunities at big deer on other areas of the property because I went to that honey hole spot and wasn't spending enough time scouting during the season to see where those deer are moving throughout the season. So stop hunting and just do some scouting, even if it's the middle of the rut. Just keep your bow with you because you never know when that opportunity is going to present itself. This brings me to my last point. Focus on fresh sign. So when you're out in there, and I've made this mistake a lot, I'm walking to the area that I expect deer to be, only to walk through some of the best and freshest sign on the hill. We've done this time and time again. One way to figure out if that sign is daylight activity sign versus nighttime activity is to throw up a trail camera. The problem with the rut is you might miss it completely. So if you find that fresh sign, go ahead and capitalize on it. And I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I happened to be hunting in southern West Virginia, and I ran into a guy, and he had just shot this big old buck, and he was giving it time to expire. And I'm like, how did this guy kill this deer here? Like, it's an area to where I did not anticipate somebody even being willing to hunt, let alone killing a poping young deer. So after talking to him, I was like, hey, what happened? Tell me about this story. Let's relive the hunt. And what he did was he seen fresh sign tracks crossing the road and the leaves torn up as this deer went down the hill. So curiosity got the best of him, and he went looking to see where that deer was. And lo and behold, he bumped into that buck with a doe, was lucky enough to get a shot at it only because he focused on the freshest sign available. And in that situation, it was actual tracks from where that deer had just crossed the road hours before. Now, there's also fresh signs such as rubs and scrapes, and there's nothing more exciting when you go into a fresh scrape when the leaves are torn up and the urine is still there. Focus on those areas where the freshest sign are, and you will find more opportunities to kill a deer during hunting season this season. Regardless of the circumstances, guys, get out there and hunt. Don't spend time hunting the same old places this season. Challenge yourself. One of the best things you can do is to go take a trip to public land. For me, there's a new spot that I haven't been on just 30 minutes from where I live at. So this season, I'm going to spend some time focusing on that area to challenge myself to find deer in an area where I've never hunted before. Even though I may never actually feel my tag there, I'm going to learn so much if I spend time in the woods during deer season looking for fresh sign. So, best of luck this season, and for more information, visit huntinggeardeals.com. Also, don't forget to sign up for a daily deal email so you never miss a deal.